Ah, good morning. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Funkles. We're trying this. We're having some technical issues today. We can't seem to get Steven to wake up. I think he slept in. I'm not sure if YouTube has started streaming this or not. I can't figure out what's going on today. Just give us 10 seconds while I click around. But yeah, Steven. Steven, are you...
I don't think we got Steve today.
what?
I think he's having some difficulties, or maybe out touching grass, working.
I don't know. He promised he was going to be here. What are we going to do? I mean, I've been slaying through this and screwing it up myself. We got to find a better way. David, you gotta help today. I don't got time for this.
Wait,
Can you?
you want me to go on live?
Yeah, dude, get on the camera. You can't just hide in the background the whole time. Forget it. Steven's out of the show. It's new uncles. Let's
Okay.
go. Come on.
Hold on.
All right. Comb your hair.
Hold on.
Put a shirt on.
Oh, what's up? Good morning, Jeff.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
How did you get here? Hey, David. Good morning. Nice to see you.
Morning.
Well, this is a surprise.
Guess I'll fill in.
Steven's really missing out, I guess. It's lovely to have you here on your show.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of go with the flow, and we'll see this morning takes us.
Well, for those of you that haven't been paying attention at home, which is probably most of you, David, Liquid Bread on the SCP Discord or Liquid in the DGen Discord, has been producing this show. He's been here every week with Steven and I, except maybe the weeks when I screw everything up. But David's been in the background. David's been on the calls with us. David's been he's the OBS ninja, as the joke would go. And so yeah, I mean, I guess you're gonna have to do it live with us today. With me. Well then, on that note, let's get right into it. It's been a fun week in the Discord. Pretty chill, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You listened to the call on Thursday. I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet. Anything fun to share?
Yeah. I think the call is pretty good. Henry, of course, is always very informative.
Yes.
Kind of gave the rundown on the Examiner MT and what that's all about. I think he even kind of addressed the name of the MT. Kind of you can kind of live on that.
It's a fun little joke, right? And
Yeah.
people didn't get it for a while.
Yep.
Because specifically, it's an Examiner with no drives in it, right? It's a bare chassis, MT, like the brain of whoever thought it up.
Yeah, other than that, he kind of touched on a competition we have going on as well with some of the community members, I believe.
Yeah, we get all that stuff. Let's, you know what? Let's go back and talk about the basic license first, though, before we go to that next stuff.
Right.
Basic ended, right? The basic is no longer for sale as of June 1st, right? But
correct.
It is not dead. You're not kicked off the network. So if you bought a basic, you got for $99, you would have or will be getting the $99 rebated in coins, SCP coins to your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively that license was zero. You paid $100 and you got $100, right? You can sell those coins. Plus you also got incentives for running it. And you also got, you earned any hosting that you earned over the past year. But now it's time to move on. And it makes sense because, you know, the developers have to support a stack and they want to push the best thing they can push. And I know there's been some anger, frustration in general in some of the community. Eh, and it's fair. I hear people saying that it's like a cash grab, but the thing that I've been thinking about it is that this is a business, right? This was built to sell cloud space to companies, to professional users, for heavy users, and they need stability. And if someone's not willing to spend the time to learn or to understand, and just wants pays $100 and hopes to get a Lambo out of it, unfortunately, that's not the best scenario for keeping corporate data safe. And in fact, when you stand up that basic, and when you don't keep it up, or when you don't think it's that important, and when you're not that vested in the project, and you stop, or you quit, or you move away, or you shut it down, or you switch to the next fun project that's going to make you Lambo rich, SCP Corp still stays here, and they still have that contract for that data, and it's duplicated on everybody else's computers or other nodes, but the company has to pay to rebuild it.
Right.
And they don't, the thing is, they can't just rebuild it. They can't just take the piece that you had and put it somewhere else, because they actually don't know what piece you had. But only your relayer knows what pieces you had.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if the company, if it gets below a certain amount of parity, the company actually has to download the whole thing, rebuild it, reshard it, and send it back, and pay for it again. And so now it's costing money, and they're still paying everybody that's hosting it $4 a terabyte. So
Right.
So it's not punitive, this push to full. It's supportive. It's like, hey, let's all be better at this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Ken's even mentioned from the get-go, just like the full license was always supposed to be a bit more separated from the basic. And one of the things that I think shows that is incentives. It doesn't mean that you can't not use the basic, but there is going to continue to be more and more separation between the basic and the full license. And there's going to be, like for right now, obviously they're going to drop incentives for the basic, and they're going to continue on pushing full, because that is the primary focus, right? Full licenses and examiners itself.
Yeah. The full license and the examiner are effectively the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Examiner is just the standalone built version of it. Hey, on that note, you want to pop up a screen share here, and let's talk about examiners, because they are on sale. Oh shit, Sparky, don't look. All right, so this is the examiner page here, and if we look in this pop-up, we have the MT, which is clearly states for the softer headed ones in the group that it has no drives. Regular price is $11.95, on sale for $9.95. All of the X models are currently on sale, $200 off.
We could pay with PayPal.
Right, pay with PayPal, $49.69 a month. I mean,
nice.
Or you can and you also get limited time right now. You get 1,000 SPFB with your purchase as a bonus, which is, everybody wants that SPF. So same thing goes across down the line. The 16 terabyte is $200 off, $14.95. I heard, and I don't know if you've heard this, that 16s are currently shipping with one 16 terabyte drive in them.
I think recently, yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, and that, my friends, is you buying the not quite empty, the 3/4 empty, where you can stick more drives in, where you can upgrade. Because previously, when you bought a 16, it had four terabyte drives, and you couldn't upgrade. You had to wait you could upgrade, of course, but you couldn't upgrade in the first year and get your rebate when there was the rebate, and so you had to. It did prove to be a nothing burger because we haven't. No one's got 16 terabytes on their X's yet, but it still is a nice thing to see that you don't have to be so rigid. You put in a 4, an 8, a 10, a 12 into that extra one if once you bump up from this 16. And then also we have the 64, which is $24.95, $200 off. That's 4 16s. You get your 1,000 SPF. So back to the basic thing, right? If you didn't know about this, the basic, you could do an upgrade from your basic on sale for $150. Regular price, it's $450. So it's $150. You have to send back the $99 worth of SCP that you got already. That's the $99 you paid a year ago, right? You paid $99 to get a license. You got rebated $99 worth of SCP. You got to send that back. So you're paying flat $250. You've earned some incentives over the past year. You've earned some rent over the past year. Mm-hmm. This gets you upgraded. This also is, I heard that it's got until the 15th of June that you can still take this offer.
Yep.
And you actually you don't even have to install it right away. You don't have to upgrade to the full right away. You can take the license key, you can put it in the console, and you can attach it to your basic, and you will qualify for incentives, and you will qualify for your rebates. You'll be in this thing. You won't be in trouble with anybody.
Right.
And those SPF, that's what everybody wants, or everybody talks about wanting SPF. And that goes back to what you were talking about from the call about this bag builder competition that the guys, some community members in the Discord have started this. They call it a bag builder competition. I think it was a 30-day contest, or it said 1 month starting May 15th. So it's kind of kooky because it's a block height thing.
23.
So it ends 650. It ends 30 days in the future on block time, which is average 10 minutes. So what day exactly it ends, it's not clear at this point. So as the contest goes, it's a just free for all buying SCP. You have to enter your name, and you have to create a nickname for the contest, and then you put your account, your wallet hash is what. So Discord user is your real Discord username, so they can track you, I guess. Nickname is the one you want listed for the contest, and then the hash is your wallet address. That you need to make a new wallet address, and you need to put money in that wallet address. SCPs. You do need to buy these SCPs on Trade Ogre is part of the competition. Specifically on Trade Ogre, Trade Ogre is a strange little throwback trading platform that a lot of people look at it and go, "What the hell is this thing?" I did a little video of it the other day of it walking through, but it's basic. It works. A lot of people talk about how there's no KYC, which is very important to some people. Because there's no KYC, a lot of Monero users use it. It's a big Monero exchange. They do business. They do a lot more business than SouthX does, and we want to move. It gives us more visibility on that. SouthX SCP has been the largest coin for the longest time, along with a bunch of weird stuff.
I think volume is even just across the board on SouthX is just kind of just dwindling. It's, I don't know. Trade Ogre, I think, is a much better good next step or good place to continue on. Like you said, people are using Monero and exchanging for other coins through there. So I don't know. It seems like a much better place to be trading within, at least for right now.
Absolutely. And so that's I think one of the big impetuses here is pushing people to come over here. So this contest is doing a couple things. One, it's getting some excitement. Two, it's having some positive price action. We were up like 20%. Like obviously that's going to happen when people are chasing a buy. And remember at the top here,
These are some big SPF bags, man.
yeah, this Gotham chest here, number one is
Yeah.
got 87,000 SEP. That's about $10,000, right? And you win 40,000 SPFA. I hope that there's not any heavy dumping and wash trading. The rules do say they want you to hold for 6 months after you buy. I don't know how anyone's going to truly enforce these things. Are they not going to give out the prizes for 6 months? I don't know.
I think that's what I heard. You have to keep it in the wallet for that duration of time, and then the payout is after that amount of time it's been in the wallet for. But if you sell beforehand, obviously that you drop in whatever place you're in.
Oh, it's an interesting. I didn't know about that. Well, that makes sense.
I think so. I'd be wrong on that, but I think that's how it would work.
The whole thing has been kind of excitingly unknown. I will give you that much.
Yeah.
But Jordy and Tocumbo are running this, and they're doing some great work. And if you notice there, those are SPF A. Those are not SPF B. And so if you are confused, which is like a lot of people are, SPF A were created as angel gifts in the beginning. So these are probably from the angel investor fund that is being used for community projects like this. SPF A earn on every block transaction, every rental transaction that happens. SPF B earn the same amount, except that SPF Bs need to be on a licensed EXA or full, or I guess basic. I don't know.
I think it does do basic as well. Yeah.
Licensed with a contract. So you have to be accepting contracts. You have to be an active node, which, you're probably participating in this, but SPF A can just sit in a cold wallet and they earn just the same. So you leave it there, and in 10 years you pull it out and give it to your kids, and it's something.
Just leave it in there with your SEP and just forget about it for a while, right?
Exactly. And you don't need to, especially if for whatever reason you're, unable to host constantly, you don't have to worry about it. Like, it's one less thing. But no matter what, this is exciting. We got some, like top 10 is 20,000, right? 13,000 is the last place. 13,000 is about 1,000, maybe $1,200. So 1,250 SPF for the last place. That's
pretty decent.
It's pretty interesting. And you can join still. We still, what do we got? Like 12, 13 days left on this.
Right.
You can join now. But you have to buy new SPF. It doesn't count. You can't just transfer them in. I don't want to be the person that's doing the accounting at the end of all this. I don't want to look through everybody's sales wallets. You could do all kinds of devious wash trading if you really wanted to. Is it worth it? Will someone notice it? Why would you bother?
You may have mentioned this, but I think you have to create a new wallet for this.
Which is easy, right? You just go, you can go in the terminal or... Okay, here's a fun little thing that people don't talk about. People don't really even think about. People are often confused when their coins aren't in their wallets, right? They look at their wallet address in the Explorer and it doesn't show the full amount. Wallet addresses or send addresses are not the same as wallets. The wallet holds the seed holds the link to many addresses. The function of the coin, the function of not the coin, but the daemon, is that sometimes when you do a send or do a receive, or do a wallet restructuring based on hosting, it literally just makes new addresses for you. So your coins stay in your wallet, but they are in a different address. When you hit send, it doesn't matter where they come from to you. You don't have to specify what address. When you hit receive, you can use an old address or a new address, and it ends up in your wallet still. This makes for a lot of like randomness and a lot of anonymousness. And this is something that a lot of coins like Monero over there on Trade Ogre are very big on. Like it creates, like it's a mess if you're trying to look through it.
Yeah.
But it's also a layer of obscurity if you don't want people peeking at your stuff.
Right.
You know, like your Bitcoin address is your Bitcoin address. Like it is, you know, those letters are part of that, of your key, your private, you know, is the hashed version of your secret key. But it doesn't work that way for us. So these addresses, you could, you know, you can make 1 million, you can make 1 billion, you can send them to each other. They will send internally. They, you know, sometimes you'll make a send and it'll send the remainder to another one. And it's like, but they're all under your control, and you can restructure it and send it back to yourself if you want it to be in one address. Sure. But it really creates a useful to some level of anonymousness on a public blockchain. And that's it for that. That's all I got to say.
All
but
right.
people don't think about that. And don't worry if your coins go missing, because they're not missing. Like if they're not in that address. And don't worry. Oh, Sparky, sorry. Don't worry, because it's all there. Anyways, keep your seed, write it down, tattoo it on your kid's face, whatever it takes. Okay, so
Exactly.
The next thing we want to talk about, and I think exciting, is back on the relayer. So we know we've been messing through the relayer. David, you've been poking at my relayer from your end too, right?
Yep.
And we're sharing files
on your end, and I'm sending you stuff. Yeah. Pretty cool.
I actually had an interesting situation happen last night. There was a real big thunderstorm came in. The, you know, East Coast thunder, it was like 85 all day, and then it like 30 or 40 lightning cracks and just like pouring sheets of rain. And I guess Fios did something. I don't know. My internet went off for a minute. My basic host, I have a basic host that's licensed on a pole, of course. It lost its IP address. The Uptime Robot went off. But I was at work and I opened up my laptop, and the relayer was still connected because it's porting, it's doing the tunneling through with the Cloudflare. So it managed to figure itself out. That's traffic, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, that's good to know. I was worried. I thought about that. I'm like, imagine what happens when you're running a relayer for somebody else and the power goes out where you are. Like that, you have to have an IT tech on call on a, 24 hours a day. Someone has to get down there and push the restart button. Mm-hmm. But obviously that didn't break, which is good to know. Okay, so today I want to talk about a two-parted thing. Part 1A, the joke with the Examiner MT, right? With the empty, no drive, is funny. It's a dad joke, you know, but it's definitely not alone, because the rumored upcoming product is the Relayer MT. And this is where the MT came from. And that's not empty. That's multi-tenant.
It's very full of features. Yes.
Yeah, but the MT stands for multi-tenant, which means whoever's running this relayer can create multiple relayer instances. The hardware will be optimized for multiple instances. It will be containerized, running them. It hasn't been seen yet for us, so we're just talking about it as we know. But so right now I have this one relayer, and you guys all, I can create these user profiles in the IAM, in the access management, right? But we can create different buckets. We can create different permissions, but they're all billed on the same credit card, mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I could charge you. I could make you a bucket and say, yeah, it's $10 a month to use this, right? But I'm not actively billing you. I'm not billing you based on what you use. So an MT would allow an MSP or just an entrepreneur who wants to sell cloud data to basically be their own cloud endpoint. And it's cloud endpoint for anybody that needs an endpoint. So the address would be the same. It would be like relayer.mymsp.com. Everybody would have their own login, but then they have their own billing. Then they have their own security. They wouldn't be touching anybody else's data because it's a very, data touching is such a silly thing to think about, like to be concerned about it. I know that Henry shared a little IAM thing that he had built, and it created user buckets based on usernames, and it created a shared folder in everybody's bucket that then was shared in everybody else's bucket, so you could drop anything in the shared folder and everybody else could get it. And that's such a brilliant thing. So everybody's got their own thing. And that works great for a small company, right? That works great for a large company. You can have marketing, you can have sales, you can have, R&D, you can have management. Mm-hmm. And then in those you can have users, and in those you can have departments, and in those everybody can be shared. And that's great. You're building one company. But when you're building different companies, you need to know what they're doing. And ideally you're building it right, to an account. You want to be able to say, hey, you used 93.2 terabytes this month. Not, let me see how many terabytes are in that folder. That's not a functional way to do it.
Right. You need something a little bit more automated or built in to have that be a little less painless or painful, I should say. Yeah.
Right. And you also, you're going to want to optimize the resources on the computer. You're going to need to have the right kind of resources set up for these multiple tenants, right? And everyone is going to have different uses. Everyone's going to have different demands. You might be able to have an MT with, multiple small, medium-sized enterprises using it. You might have a relayer that two bigger ones use. Who knows? It'll figure itself out. Basically, it's a use and demand. It's like a road. We'll build it, and then the cars will show up, kind of thing. And if you need to build more roads, you build more roads.
Yep. I
mean, that's an awful metaphor, but so there's this like twisting in the wind part of the relayer MT, because it's going to be a server grade piece of hardware, right? I've heard some numbers, $8,000. It's going to be in a rack unit. It's going to be loaded with the memory you need and the processors you need, and it's sitting between the customer and the cloud, right?
Right.
The customer could put the relayer on-prem and not have to deal with this hop to an endpoint, right? Like right now when you use Amazon, you log on to east1.awscloud.whatever, right? And you go to your for me, it's in Virginia. That's where it would go. And I'm sure they're, around Seattle. I know that they're just around the country. And there's multiples. And when one's full, they build another one. They build another road, right? They build another fucking giant ass Walmart parking lot full of data center. Mm-hmm. Amazon eats the cost, or Amazon charges you for hosting the relayer MT. Right? They basically, that whole data center is the relayer, and everybody can have an endpoint as much as you want. And when it gets too full, to build another one. But for the cost of one, 2U, 4U unit, whatever it ends up being, you are the data center because the actual nodes are in the cloud. They're in the in the decentralized cloud.
Right.
So you don't need to, like, Amazon has to have that endpoint, but then Amazon has to have racks of bays of hard drives.
Right.
And it all has to be cooled and powered and secured and staffed and, all that concurrent nonsense. So the Relayer MT lets you power one rack and you're going to need a fast data connection. Like this thing sits in a co-location, or it sits in a server room. If you have a business with a server room, if you're an ISP or if you're an MSP, this is where it sits, right? But it doesn't mean you have to be that. You could be the entrepreneur and you could rent a rack. I've seen some prices, maybe $200 or $300 a month to rent a rack with unlimited, unmetered bandwidth and all that stuff, right? I've never done that. I know some people in the network, in the group do. We saw some prices about what it costs for unmetered and space and all this. So now you're in this place where, okay, so whoever pays for the data, $8, $7.99 top line for their terabyte, right? They need an endpoint, but then $4 goes to the host, right? So
Right.
This endpoint needs to be monetized, right? If you're going to buy this thing, it's one thing if you're the company selling cloud, if you can sell $10,000 of cloud a month and make, your overage on that, because remember, 10,000 still half is going to the nodes. So this is where the decentralized kicks in. And I know I'm kind of wandering here, but this is where in the Relayer we have provider profiles, right? Mm-hmm. And so right now it's pretty bold. It's pretty big. You pick your provider. You go, I want to find all the hosts in Africa. Oh shit, there isn't any. I want to find all the hosts in the Americas. Oh look, there's 1,200. 667 of them are EXAs. 546 of them are DIYs in the US. Canada's got 107, 143. Boom, boom, boom. One EXA in Brazil. Like, you can pick a data set. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a single region. So there's pre-selected with Canada East, Canada West, Euro North, Euro South, and you can move through these things, and these are the bulk ones, right? These are not granular. These are not the ones that you built. So looking at the data view, you can scroll by country. You can see a little more detail of it. So there's a setting here that not even close to dipping into it. But this is where it says at the bottom, this is for advanced users and written in common expression language. This is
override it? Oh, manual override.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But so the next step that's getting built in, I believe that it was 2.2 Relayer, is the ability to granularly pick nodes that you want to put your data on.
Yeah.
And by pick nodes that you want to put your data on, you should be hearing pick your own nodes.
Right.
Pick the nodes that you control. You can't have 100% on your nodes because there's no point. Why would you pay? Why are you paying anybody anything? Why don't you just locally store it? That's not the cloud. The cloud is that
redundancy in that, or the security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But what you can do is you'll be able to put up to a certain percentage on your own nodes or nodes you control. And if they're diverse enough, then I can't see why you shouldn't be able to pick 40 nodes of any type, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I guess if you had 40 examiners, you could pick them all, but we'll figure that out when this happens. But so this is where the flywheel savings comes in, right? Because if you're the MSP, right, and you find a client and you say, okay, you want 100 terabytes of cloud a month. And you say, I'm going to get it down to you for $6.99, right? And you're paying $4. You know that $4 goes to the hosts. that $4 can be recouped if half of the hosts are already yours, because then the network's paying you $4 for half of the data, which, call it $2 for 100 terabytes, and you're getting it in SCP back in your nodes that are running. But then why do you have to do it for your own? Why can't you do it? Why can't you figure out other people in your area, other EXA owners in your region that you want to target, and sign them up? Say, hey, listen, I'll put your IP address in my list of provider sets, and it's going to cost you X, but you'll get data on your hosts. And it seems to me that that's something that people would pay for. I mean, we've always joked in the Discord that, you got to pay to get more data. And, obviously no one's in control of that right now, but this is where the control comes from. This is where you create the control. If you look on the dashboard here, mine's showing that I'm matched to 2495 providers, right? I just did the whole thing. I've got 51 gigs that are shared across the whole network.
Yeah.
But, you could change the profile. You can change what you want, where you want things to go. You don't keep changing back and forth all the time. But look, I just went to East and now it went down to 1200 because that's right. But because that's where the next data would go.
Yeah, and, I'll mention that's like something I've been thinking about too, and that's actually part of my strategy. Like I have 8 full licenses that I have. I'm not utilizing all of them, but that is going to be one of my strategies is to continue to pick up more licenses as I kind of get some of these relayers deployed and to some other companies, and I'm going to be picking the full licenses, the providers that I am standing up. Like I'm going to be choosing my own, and I have several different locations that I have set aside for this. I'm probably going to just be putting some of these full licenses probably in each individual corp too, just like spreading it out. I don't want it all housed up in my house, right? I don't really want that.
It's not efficient either, being all in the same IP address, right?
Right. But yeah, that's just something I'm doing. There's something I'm thinking about. Just like I want to be able to pick some of my providers, the 8, and depending on my conversations and the companies that I'm onboarding, I'm going to be doubling that up. It's a interesting kind of way you can kind of grow, and just kind of add on to all that. Yeah, I don't know.
Right, because if you are the MSP or you are even the small medium enterprise, right? Say you're going to do an on-site relayer. You're going to get an on-prem relayer. You're going to put your data locally to it. You can buy yourself one of those Examiner MTs, and you can stick a drive in it, or you can buy a 16 or whatever and stick it in the corner and assign it in your provider set. And you will be discounting your own cloud use by storing in your own cloud use, as well as everybody else. Whatever the percentage of that ends up on your EXA is the discount that you're paying yourself, because the network is paying you back for it. And it's not just limited to your data, because you can be storing other people's data and be getting paid for that, right? But like we all can. Anybody can buy a license or buy an EXA and earn from the cloud. But if you're using the cloud, you should even more be discounting yourself by paying yourself back. And like the topic in the Discord the other day was somebody could buy relayer MTs, and you could buy 1, 5, 10, 1,000, and you can stick them in data centers, and you can literally get between the people who use the cloud and AWS. You can get between the people who need to back up stuff and Google and Microsoft. And you can just sit there. You can be this company that charges them less. You can charge $5.99, say, right? You can, $4 goes to the hosts. And if you are getting a piece of the host money, then you're earning on that end too.
Totally. Yep.
Dave, when you and I were setting up this call, we were just sort of hashing through these ideas, and like it sounds complicated, right? Like how does the entity that's running a relay or MT, how do they bill all these nodes, right? Like how do I say, like, this IP got this much data, so they owe me this much money, right? But you don't do like that. You just make a subscription plan. And it came out of my mouth like all the best dumb things that I think do. You make a business, you have a relayer page and you have a sign up page, and Exa owners can opt in. You can enter your IP address, and you get billed monthly. The Exa owner can pay $20 a month, or $25 a month, or $50 a month, depending on whatever the ratio is. And their IP goes in that list.
Yeah.
And they start getting data. And obviously the MSP has to be sending them data. No one's going to keep paying.
Yeah.
But if you were going to, like what are we at right now? It's $4 a terabyte you get paid. So if you had a full Exa, it's full 64, you're at $250-ish a month, right?
Yeah.
And full is optimal, right? Say you're making $150 to $200 a month. Would you not pay $25 a month to get that, to keep that? Like forget it. Just pay it.
Yeah.
And you're not paying it to the corporation. You're paying it to an entrepreneuring person. You might be paying it to another corporation. Like why couldn't, like Microsoft could sign up MTs. Anybody could sign up MTs, and you're like, hey, it's $20. And then the next person can come along and undercut them and be like, yeah, well, there's 500 terabytes of data on my relayer, and I only want $20 a month. And you'll get what you get. And that's cash flow for them. If you had 100 people paying you $200 a month, there's a business model right there. You're the relayer guy, person, the relayer them. But you need to put stuff on it. You need to go out and get cloud data. But then you can discount the cloud data that you sell because you're getting money from the nodes that want to be in your provider set.
Right.
It's just like
there's a lot of working pieces. You can kind of it's pretty like modular if you think about it. Just like there's a lot of ways you can approach this, which I find kind of cool. It's whatever opportunities are kind of given to you, whatever relationships you might have with other corps or other people that are also kind of standing up their own relayers or providers or whatever. Just it's a lot of ways to kind of piecemeal this together to suit you.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that relay or MT needs to be owned by one person, right?
Yeah.
10 people, like a group, could band together and they could all sell onto it. Everybody could go out and hustle to their MSP. I mean, hustle like an MSP and find somebody. And if you're pushing up 5 terabytes, then you get some overage on what you sell. And, you don't need to drop $8,000 to sign up your local orthodontist's office kind of thing.
Right.
On, all this mind-blowingness, I hope you guys are taking notes, because there's a lot of alpha in here. But, that's what we're here for. That's what the Funkles likes to do.
Yeah.
I guess Steven must have fallen into some kind of like doorknob-shaped hole today, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Poor guy. Hope he's okay.
We'll probably hear from him later.
Yeah, he'll tell us how wonderful he's getting. Maybe he'll be mad that you're taking over, though. I hope that he doesn't feel jealous. And our friend Mike's out of town, and it's summer, and it's grass touching season. So I hope that you enjoyed. I really want to thank David for stepping up today. This was now you're stuck being a regular. I guess that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I'm a little camera shy, but I like to help out where I can. So don't mind
I
doing that.
find it I find it like more fun to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I've made some videos by myself, and sometimes I just get lost and talk about hamburger meat for too long. But it's having some feedback is good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about here, or is it time to
Mm,
start Saturday? You got Nerf Wars today, or that's
no, that was last week. That was a fun time. Really sore from it. No, today got to touch some grass. Gonna cut some grass. Got to mow the lawn.
there you go.
Yeah, that's
That's a
it.
good
It's sunny
Saturday.
out here in Washington State.
And yeah, I saw some pictures. It's dreary here. It's been
Ah,
hot as hell all week, so I'm happy to be a little dreary.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm gonna go flip some pizza burgers or whatever is gonna happen. Um, I hope that everybody out there hits the subscribe button. Subscribing to this thing is the best thing because then it just shows up and it helps us be ourselves. We're working on some new, bigger ideas as we go forward here with the fun uncles. We'll
hmm
let you know in the next couple of weeks, I guess. We got some talks happening. Our buddy Mike, Helium Street Mike, is away. He'll be back more. Yeah, we got some ideas, right?
yeah,
Maybe we'll even get Steven back.
yeah. We'll see if he can get away
Yeah,
from his doorknobs.
high
Yep.
hopes. All right, David. This was fun.
Yeah, this
Thank
is good.
you. I'm gonna go, and you go, and we will be back next week.
Sounds good. All right. See you,
Have a
Jeff.
great day.
You too. See ya.